We don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real put alive from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Look at that, baby. Right on time. Oh, man.
I'll tell you what.
It's been a wild Monday.
Your definition of on time does not match.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, you missed.
You missed the backstage discussion.
Oh, so I didn't miss anything. Perfect. So
that's our show prep. So
you missed the first.
You
missed the first ever pre-show.
well, then fill me in. What's going on, guys?
How you doing, Jazz?
Oh man, crazy Monday, but I'm good. How are you all doing?
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
Good, man.
Very productive weekend. First day of practice. Everything's going on.
Yeah.
Yep, a lot of good things. Had the Under Armour camp yesterday, and a lot of kids.
How was that, Blue?
Very crowded. And we'll talk a little bit about that, later in the show. Some of the kids who look good. Now the camps are going to come fast and furious. You got Rivals in 2 weeks, and then spring starts at the end of April. And right now, today, got some good reports out of Miami. Alex Donna was there. I talked to him for a little bit.
Well, so that's what I kind of wanted to start off with, and I kind of wanted to talk about the spring game as well, since I think by now everybody knows it's being moved. So what does that mean for us, basically, and for the fans?
A parking garage seat. And,
yeah, no kidding. So kind of, I mean, I saw some videos. I saw Cam Ward kind of throwing the ball around, throwing a nice deep route to Jacoby George. Saw Hellcat, Chris Humphrey-Wheatley run the football a little bit. Saw a nice picture of a jump ball, a big catch that Night Carr, looks like Night Carr made. So obviously they're out there. They're going all out. It is spring football, but a lot of these young kids really want to kind of make a first impression, a really big one. There's a picture of JoJo Trader. Everybody's, oh my God, he's wearing the number 6, Santana Moss. All right, relax, everybody. But it's fun. It's fun to see all these guys out there, the new guys, the transfer portal guys.
That's also Mark Pope's number, just so
You're right. Yeah.
To bring you right back down to earth a little bit.
Absolutely. Can't get too high or too low around here. All right.
Yeah, right.
Oh man. But so kind of to get an idea, Blue, of what you're hearing out of the first day of spring practice out there.
Well, they all love what Cam Ward brings to the table. Exciting. He's got already a pitch catch relationship with a few of the receivers, and Streppel made a couple of good catches as usual today. The offensive line got much bigger, and we were waiting for that. Rivers is massive from what I understand, and Bain is his usual destructo, and everybody kind of like they were the quarterbacks all through the ball, and obviously you have a couple new faces in that room. Running backs didn't really, other than a couple of them just going through some drills, and it's tough to tell when you're not in pads with the running backs because they pretty much it's hands off on them. You get a chance to see a little twitch when they go out, on receptions. But you mentioned, I heard Nikar look good. One of the good guys, and I'm sure that we embrace this, is Arroyo. Looked healthy, looked big. He spoke and told everybody how excited he was, and he worked real hard to stay injury-free. He's worked extra time in the weight room, and he was really looking good today. And, it's good to hear, Wesley Bissaint is looking good. And but, yeah, it's like I said, and I've said this since December, I was really looking forward to spring. I think that there's going to be a lot of positives because of so many new faces, and that's the one thing I think we talked about. The entire complexion of this team has changed in the last year.
I was about to say,
and I think we sat there 2 years ago, and I think we all agreed that in 2 years from now, this team is not even going to look remotely like it looked when he first took over. And everything is pointing towards this looking like a Mario Cristobal team, and gives everybody a lot of optimism, a lot more depth. That incoming freshman class, while a lot of them won't start, are going to be in the mix. They will be in the mix because of their talent level. It's just especially the need at wide receiver for depth, that linebacking core for depth. I think, and we said this last week or 2 weeks ago, that Miami's defensive end and edge rush room in 2 years will be the best in the country. That's the type of talent they've recruited. You look at the interior now with Bain, future Scott. Yeah, to be on day one. There's a lot to be excited about, and it's only getting better, and you can see it. And that's all anybody really asks. Any rational fan, that's all they really ask.
That's
a minority.
That's the operative word there. Yeah. The rational fan. What is that? I'm not sure if me or Vish or DJ know one of those at all. As a matter of fact, we experienced it on the baseball side last week too in our show. My goodness, I love him. I love CCH, but good Lord, we were in panic mode before this Gator weekend. But whatever, we won't talk about that. But what I hear is Bain gained 8 pounds of muscle and dropped 4% of his body fat, so he looks leaner and meaner. And I didn't know if that was possible, but apparently it is. And that's kind of scary to hear that he's gotten stronger and leaner and but bigger at the same time. So that's gonna be fun to watch that kid go after the quarterback and do what he does. So and you nailed it, Blue. I think that right now it's arguable that Miami has a top 4, a top 5 defensive end starting lineup in the country with Bain and Mesidor, right? I mean, it's that good. And then the guys behind them, like you said, kind of building that depth is important, and on the inside as well. You've got, I think, 10 guys on the inside, so it's fun to hear that the team is bigger and stronger. And you're right. I mean, Vish talked about it a lot at the beginning. 3 years ago, is like let's give this guy a time to kind of build this roster out and make it his own, right? And then you'll start seeing, the big boys that he had at Oregon and some of the stuff that he was able to do at other stops like Alabama and whatnot. and build that team into a huge team. But not lose the athleticism and the speed and whatnot, and you're still seeing that you're getting that with guys like Night Carr and JoJo Trader and Hellcat and the rest, right? So you've got a mix of both, but you've got the guys that are supposed to look big and intimidating are finally big and intimidating, and that's fun to watch. Just based off of what he said, Vish, anything kind of stand out to you?
Yeah, just real quick, running through the chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Size
I'm
of
not even looking at it.
Size of Judd Anderson, definitely. It's a big kid. Yeah, Isaiah Horton getting the third. Kind of, we knew Restrepo, we knew Jacoby. Horton getting the third. Kind of suspected he would at least slot in there. Yeah, we actually just Jazz and I saw Emery out at the baseball game on Friday. Looked normal. At that point, we were like, yeah, he's definitely gonna.
I mean, he can start tomorrow.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be at least like physically healthy. But yeah, so I think one of the things that you talked about Ruben Bain and kind of some of the improvements he's made to his body. I think that is kind of the next step. We have a lot of good players that can impact games, but we have not had a lot of game winners. Like when it comes down to the operative moment, who's going to make the play to win the game? A lot of times it's no one. Even our great players like Cam Kitchens, All-American, he's busting a coverage at the end of the Georgia Tech game, right? I think there's that next level of development that we need to get to, and I think Ruben Bain's doing that. He's now, that like you said, it's hard to imagine that he was able to put on muscle and drop some body fat, but part of that is end of the fourth quarter, critical third down, he'll make the strip sack this year where last year maybe he wouldn't have, right? And I think just that one play, like we were very close to being a much better team record-wise than we ended up being. And those small margins make a big difference. And obviously, we're hoping for, I think, the story of the offseason and, the story of the next season will be Cam Ward. And, if he makes good, a lot of troubles go away. If he doesn't, the sky is going to be falling again. So that's going to dictate a lot. But we were lacking a little bit in that finishing touch. Clemson notwithstanding, where, Corey Flagg made the winning play, that was a rarity. Look at the NC State game. We drove inside their 5-yard line, we couldn't score. The Louisville game, we drove inside the 5-yard line, couldn't score. We were very, very close to being a really, really good football team. And I think these marginal gains by our top players so that they can make that extra play. We were a handful of plays away. We had Florida State on the ropes at the end. We were very close to really having a big season last year. And these little incremental gains that you're seeing from the existing players that were already really good, making that next step can make a huge difference in terms of wins and losses.
I agree. Look at the General, baby, showing us some love. Shout out to the General over from the Miami Flow crew, Javi. We love you, brother. Thanks, man. Thanks for showing up. Brian Humphrey also said, "What's up, Canes fan? What's up, buddy?" I'm excited about the tight end room, DJ. Apparently someone's healthy over there. But before we get to that, you hit on something, Vish, that I think is important to kind of also piggyback off of and say, this is what they brought Cam Ward in for, right? So that in the fourth quarter where you got to march down the field and score a touchdown, this is the guy that you think is going to come in and do that. On top of the other players, right? The Hortons that has to step up, and Jacoby George and all the running backs. But I think that's what we're all expecting also to say, hey, this could put us over the top now, having a guy like Cam Ward that can help all these guys around us and finish the deal, finish the job on the offensive side of the ball, right? The defense is obviously a different story, but the offensive side of the ball, that's what you want. That's what you bring Cam Ward in for is to make those plays down the stretch where you've got to make a first down, where you've got to get a touchdown, where you've got to, move them in field goal position to kick the field goal to win. That's what you bring in a guy like Cam Ward. And, I think that a lot of it is going to depend on how he, continues to develop and continues, to play. So I think it's important that he has pieces around him that he can get the ball to make those plays. Like the tight end, if Elijah Arroyo is healthy, Riley Williams, Elijah Lofton, those guys, right? Those are going to be your go-to guys at the tight end position. A lot of talent there, unproven talent, injuries, disappointment. DJ, this is an opportunity for that tight end room to kind of make a name and really blow up, right?
Absolutely, because when you look at the talent at the wide receiver position, especially on the outside, defenses are going to account for those guys, right? So when you have a good tight end room and a good, pair of tight ends that can kind of, take the middle of the field and kind of, not be on the outside, but, create good throwing lanes for somebody like Cam Ward or something like that, it really adds another, element to the offense. And, as the receivers get, better and, faster and bigger over the course of the season, more defenses are going to start to key on. So to have that kind of safety blanket at the tight end position, assuming we fully, utilize the tight end position, is going to be important because, with a guy like Cam Ward, you're not going to need necessarily, the tight end room to be the safety blanket because Cam Ward can make all sorts of plays, right? But it does give you the option to kind of just have another read that you can go to, especially in the red zone where things get tight.
Speaking of tight end,
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say DJ should change his name to Tight End Guru, but that could go so many ways, and I don't really want
maybe
that kind of pressure.
He's also
DJ,
we're still unclear if we're ever going to throw to the tight end. So don't get on
This
that.
is all wishful thinking. This is like I'm trying to speak this into existence here.
Keep going.
We can't have a tight end guru on staff as we eliminate the tight end position. That's not gonna...
That's true. This is true.
Shout out to Evan, our F1 coach.
Hey,
that
what's
show will be
up, Evan?
tomorrow.
Yep. Oh, boy, do we got a lot of talk about.
We got a lot of off track gossip. The race is exactly like every other race last year. So
pretty much, yeah. It was on par for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I just want to, Blue. You kind of brought up how big Jalen Rivers is and how big that offensive line is, or has gotten even bigger. I mean, because they were a big group last year, right? That was a big solid group, but now you're talking about maybe added a little more depth with Markel Bell, who's 6'8", 300 and God knows how many pounds, right? 350, something like
Carpenter and all that.
You got Carpenter obviously coming in, taking over for Matt Lee. So, and then you've got some other guys, Tinalau and Kinsler and Okunlola, who are continuing to develop and could potentially get some playing time. Matthew McCoy now is probably going to jump in at that left guard position. And you've got, obviously all the all the guys coming back like Luke Chris. I'm sorry, like damn, I did that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
How dare you?
How dare
you? Never again. We cannot have that happen ever again.
Well, that was definitely a weak spot 2 years ago. And now it's one of the strong spots of the team. And we kind of figured that when you have somebody like Alex Mirabal, who is, no matter where he's been, FIU, Marshall, Oregon, he's always built a fortress around the rest of the team. And that's what Miami's done. And I'll tell you a guy that I think is going to force their hand, Vish, to throw to the tight ends because he's as versatile as you get is Elijah Lofton. And I think this is a kid who will really make a difference. He really will because he's an H-back. He's really not a tight end, but in this vernacular, as DJ will tell you, they're still tight ends. They're still, he's going to be more of a offensive threat than he will being like a Durham Smythe with the Dolphins where he blocks a lot. I mean, you got other guys to block. I think he's just going to be somebody who's going to get paired with a linebacker and then get into that secondary, just like Brevin Jordan did. And, I think he's Brevin Jordan 2.0 is really what he is. He's not a heavy guy, but he's very athletic. And the very fact that, we talked Jazz when he was in the state title game this year for Gorman, and he threw one, he caught one, he picked off a pass. So, and already today, from what I understand, from what Alex told me, he's going to be a difference maker. And, you could just see. And that's what I think is the most exciting part because there's so much untapped talent out there. And we've been so stuck in neutral with a lot of these kids and trying to make them something that they're not. Now you got guys who are something, and now you just got to wait for them to, to go through the process. But somebody like a Lofton, somebody like a Nykar who catches everything. I mean, you don't want 100 freshmen out there, but at the same time, if those freshmen like Tracy Howard and Duke Johnson can really ignite you, you put them in the mix, because they're the type of guys. Because next year we sit here, just like we did with Bain, and all of a sudden Bain's a household name nationally. We knew he would be special, but did we know he would be dominating special as a freshman? And as you alluded to, gaining 9 pounds, and he kind of had something in his comment today that was kind of, somebody had asked him about Cam Ward and how elusive he is, and he says, well, we're going to go at it, and he may not be elusive enough, he said. So
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, and Blue, what you're touching on is kind of what I was talking about earlier in terms of, game winners. Who's the, like, guys like Nykar, you get them, they can't win the game from the sideline. And so, there's certain guys who, just like you mentioned, Duke Johnson, from his first game against Boston College when he kept scoring all those touchdowns, like, he won that game.
Yeah.
Like, as a freshman, he still wasn't starting. It was, I believe, Javaris James at the time, or he was platooning at running back to start that year. But
he got a lot of reps.
Yeah, but you had to get him on the field somehow, because, like, this guy can win you a game, and he did.
Yeah. Like Bain.
And that's the difference in the talent upgrade from really good players. Like, there are Miami players from these teams from the last few years all over the NFL.
Sure.
But they're not the Pro Bowlers, though, right? And I think we're starting to get something. Okay, you could see like Ruben Bain, the Pro Bowl, right? You could see some of these kids in there. I think that's the next level. I do have a question. This is kind of for GJ, but for the whole group on the tight end position. Because so we mentioned Elijah Arroyo is the starter, it appears, at least going into spring. We talked about Elijah Lofton. Riley Williams, I know, is getting a lot of touches in practice as well. We brought Cam McCormick back. We still have Jackson Carver. What does this depth chart look like? And how do you handicap who's going to get, like, you think McCormick will just be like a blocking guy? Like, I'll start with DJ and we can go around the horn maybe a little bit, because that's kind of a odd position that's deep with a lot of different skills in it, though. And one that we didn't use a lot last year. So it's kind of an interesting position. DJ, I don't know if you have any thoughts.
It is definitely an interesting position, because when you look at, the type of skill sets that each bring to the table, I mean, me personally, I feel like Cam McCormick is a little bit limited in what he can bring. I still think he's a good athlete and obviously deserves a spot on the team, but I feel like he'll be more of a blocker. So I would probably put him, for lack of a better term, last on this depth chart for right now. I'm kind of going to go out of order here, but I'd probably put Arroyo first, maybe Riley Williams second. It's kind of tough with this younger, with Williams, for example, because he didn't see a ton of playing time last year. So it's kind of, again, going back to that untapped potential. But I would say, if I would say for any sort of guarantee, if you will, and kind of a sure thing, I think you could maybe point to Elijah Arroyo as being your top guy, and then kind of seeing what Williams and the others can bring to the table, because I really do like Williams. I liked him when he committed here. It's just about, again, unlocking the potential on the field.
Blue, you want to take it next?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of agree with him. The thing is, it's Arroyo's job to lose. It really is. I mean, they've been waiting for him to get back. You can't penalize the fact that he's been banged up. It's not like he was on the sideline because of his performance. So he gets the first out of the gate, and I think he's going to be very productive. He's got to have a solid spring, because he really, as you guys alluded to, hasn't played very much.
He's got competition now.
Right. So. You'd hate to figure this, DJ, that, he's going to start the game at Florida and he doesn't have all that many games. We've been talking about him for 3 years,
right? But
he really hasn't, been on the field. So I think he's first one out. You look at McCormick, and what he is he's going to be the guy to fill in, when needed. He's going to spell the guys, because, you're not losing anything. I mean, by putting him out. He's not going to hurt you. I mean, you're not asking of him to do a lot. I think I consider, right now you got to get a lot of those. Williams has got to get a lot of touches, during the spring and during the practices. But he caught one today. They said was really, really impressive, but then he dropped a couple. So consistency is important, but I'm going to agree with you. I think first guy out of the gate, and hopefully from the comments that he made about, getting bigger and stronger to prevent a lot of those nagging injuries that you get when you don't, work out the way you should. Although with Fell in the room, it's hard to imagine that nobody's not working. I mean, he's coming in there with his freaking 4 cups of coffee and just wired out the room. Everyone's going to get in there and do their reps. And that's the thing too. You get that weight, you look at Nebraska all those years and, I mean, it's not by mistake that they won. It's just that, they were the first ones to come up with that bigger, faster, stronger program. And now everybody's adapted it. And obviously they have modified, but Miami's strength and conditioning is just light years ahead of where they were. And that was essential because, I'm one of those guys, maybe it's old school or whatever, but what you do in January, February, and March really pays off in November and December. Really.
That's not old school at all. That's not old school at all.
That's a belief, and I think that's, a lot of these guys when they don't feel like getting up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock and getting in that lifting, and then kind of dog it a little bit. Those are the guys that fall behind.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that Arroyo fell behind, but and you look back at his high school career, and I was asking somebody who covered him in a few games, and he was never hurt. And he played on both sides of the ball. He was a DN, he was a tight end, and so he just needs to understand this is especially when you have physical people on the other side of the ball, they're going to test you a little bit. But I mean, there's a lot of jobs up for grab, but I think that if Williams is going to be a big part of it, he's got to be consistent. And like I said, on the overall, you look at an Isaiah Horton and players like that are due for the breakout. And when you have somebody with the experience that a Jacoby George has, you cannot have any. He's got to be a leader from day one. If he's not, then see ya. I'm sorry. I mean, this is it. This is what everybody's working their butt off. He's blessed because he's very talented. But if he doesn't have the work ethic, this is where your roster's changed.
Mm-hmm.
I look back at 2 years ago roster, guys. I challenge you to do that, and you go, oh Jesus, what? There's almost 60% of change.
That's wild.
Maybe even more.
Probably more.
And and I think Mario made that promise, and to everybody, and when he talks to the media especially, and he says, listen, we're going to build this, and he's not lied. He has.
I agree. What's up, Gus?
Gus the Bus.
Gus the Bus. Yeah, so
well, I think go ahead.
Here's my thing, right? While I do believe that should be I guess the lineup or the depth chart at tight end. Mario's still a little old school, and so is Coach Mirabal, right? You know where I'm going with this, Vish. You got to block to be on this team. You got to be a hell of a blocker to be able to play a tight end on this. And until we're proven otherwise, because Vish nailed it. Until we're proven otherwise that they're going to throw the football to the tight end, I hate to say it, but if Elijah Arroyo is not the best blocker at tight end, then it's going to be Cam McCormick out there. You're going to see Cam McCormick. And unfortunately, that's the way I see it. He may not be the best guy athletically. He may not be able to catch the ball worth a damn. But if you're not going to throw the ball to the tight end, which I'm hoping that this changes, right? Number one, I think the biggest thing is having an even bigger, faster, and stronger offensive line.
Yep.
If you've got that, then you're able to be more creative with your offense and use your tight end a little bit more. Okay, I think that was a big deal. I think last year with that position as well. It could have been, but the development wasn't there either. Arroyo was hurt. Riley Williams still wasn't ready. And Cam was just, McCormick was who he was. So I think that this year what you're going to see is if Arroyo steps up a little bit more on his blocking and he stays healthy, yeah, I think he's your tight end one, no doubt about it. Riley Williams to me is more of a spread out tight end kind of guy. I don't know how good of a blocker he is. He might be a good blocker because he didn't catch the ball a lot at IMG either, right? He was in on a lot of plays blocking. So he may have the inside track on something like that. But to me, the dark horse on this all is Elijah Lofton. I think that Blue nailed it. He's an H-back, and which means he knows how to block, and he knows how to do a lot of other things as well. He's a Swiss Army knife at that tight end position. So I think that if Elijah Lofton gets even a sniff of some consistent playing time, he may smoke all these guys and take it away from them. That's how good he is. And I don't care if he's 6'2" or 6'1" or 6'3", whatever he is, right? He's obviously not a huge guy, and he's probably, 230?
230.
Just
it's like Brevin Jordan, the same thing.
I'll tell you what, guys, yeah. And I'll tell you what, Brock Bowers, I know I'm not comparing him to Brock Bowers, number one. I'm not doing that, but Brock Bowers is measured in at 6'3", just at 6'3", 240 pounds in the draft. So, yeah, he's a specimen, right? He's otherworldly. But I'm saying, like, the age of having a tight end that's 6'5", 265 pounds, it's not necessarily what you need to have at that position unless he's going to stay in and block like Cam McCormick is, right, all day. So you even see guys like Riley Williams and Lofton, they're maybe 245, 240. They're a bit taller, 6'4", 6'5", but they're a little bit more slender than traditional big tight end. So for me, it's about how well you can block, and you're going to get more playing time in this offense. And of course, if you can do it all, if you can block and catch, then you've got yourself, a winning recipe there at the tight end. But that's going to be the most important thing to me. So that's why I think you're going to see Cam McCormick still get some playing time, because he proved that he was the better of the blockers last year. And even with that, he still struggled a little bit down the stretch. But look, if you're in 95% of the plays, because he was in all the time, right? We saw him in there playing a lot. You may screw up now and again. So I think that from a blocking perspective, that's going to be most important. The rest, we all know who's the most talented guys out there when it comes to catching the football. They just got to be consistent and put it together. So we'll see. Time will tell. It's still early. Oh,
kind of already touched on this earlier, and Zoli, we touched on a couple of shows ago, I believe. But then,
I didn't even mention Elijah Austin, who comes in from Marshall after being a stud over there as well. I'm telling you, and Blue said it. This is the best for me. This is if not the best, top. Oh God, man. Let's just say top 5 for argument's sake. Top 5 defensive line in the country, with a guy like CJ Clark in the middle as well, because you could also push Mesidor in because he's a big kid. He's 280 pounds, so he's not a small defensive end. You know what I mean? So, and Bain isn't either. Bain's like 275, 280. Well,
he was 270 last year,
right? Where was he last year? He was like 270 last year. So no, he wasn't that big. He was a little bit smaller than that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I thought he was like in the 260s last year.
Okay, fair enough. Let's say he's 275
because he came out of high school at 255. So
okay. So let's say he's 275 now, hypothetically. That's another big. That's a big time. That's a big defensive end, right? So Austin is probably on the smaller side, 250 maybe, 245, 250, something like that. But he's still strong, long, lanky guy. And so you've got all that talent that you can interchange, go inside, outside. You can even put Hunt outside because Hunt's another big guy, but he's 280, 285. Guy. You've got a lot of versatility on that line. So I'm really excited about that line. But that wouldn't be a bad starting lineup per se. I still think that you're going to put in a big boy next to Clark, maybe like a Marley Cook or Hunt or Ahmad Moten, something like that next to Clark, and start Mesidor and then bring in Austin. Also, you can oh Jesus. Here we go. You can even put Austin as an edge rusher type, right? He's big enough and he's also small enough that he can be kind of like an edge rusher and outside linebacker type also. So you've got a lot of options there.
So I will take this. I've certainly criticized some of his clock management. However, if we're gonna respond to every single granular topic related to Canes football with, well, Mario sucks anyway, go do something else. Seriously, what's the point? Like, I don't understand the point of comments like this. It's not gonna do anything. We get the same thing in basketball. What does it matter? Everyone's gonna transfer. I'm like, then go do something else. Who cares? Like, if your attitude is going to be always, I think we've gotten so set on default of just everything's got to be negative all the time that at this point, like the response to anything, like we're talking about legitimately one of the best defensive lines in the country is like, who cares? Because we might misuse a timeout. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. That's just not. It's not an interesting show, and if that's how you consume sports, more power to you. But that's not the show we're gonna do. It's not even a show. Like, I don't know what you would do with that. Like, what do you want us to do with that? I mean, Blue can call Mario and tell him how he doesn't know how to coach. I don't think that's gonna go over well. So,
No,
I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, I think so. Blue, I tried, but Blue is not volunteering to do so. So, we gave it a shot.
Man, speaking of,
you're gonna go. Jazz will go tell Laz Gutierrez.
Yeah, hey Laz, take a back seat
while we're doing this.
Let my 2 years of 3 years of coaching experience at the high school level show you a thing or two about college baseball pitching. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that because
some more. Yeah, we'll talk. We're in baseball.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the show.
Yeah, on Thursday, we'll talk about a big weekend series with Virginia coming up. But anyway, back on topic here. Linebacker and cornerback are the concerns for David here.
A good concern, not a bad concern, right? I think it's for me, it's an optimistic concern, right? I don't know if that even makes sense. It's kind of like saying organized chaos, right? So it's optimistic, but it is a concern. I mean, especially at the linebacker position, you've got Popo, and you got Pulliam, Wes, obviously Kiko. That goes without saying. But you've got some guys there that are talented, but they're young, and so that is a concern. Making sure that those guys are going to come out and they're going to perform and be able to pick up on this defense. And look, they've been in the defense already a year. Pulliam showed some signs last year. Popo got some playing time as well. You bring in a guy like Bobby Pruitt, who's an absolute stud. I think he's going to be kind of like that. I guess you can say the guy that's going to come out of nowhere and kind of surprise a lot of people, right? I think he's going to surprise a lot of people and be able to get some playing time. Malik Bryant, another kid that's talented. But look, all that talent, they've got to be able to produce this year. It can't just be the Kiko show. Wes has to step up his game, and the rest of the guys do too. So I see the concern there. And I think that, the cornerbacks, again, if you keep guys like Damari Brown, and you got Porter on the other side, I think you're set. That's strong, right? And you've got some guys coming in the transfer portal at safety, and you got some guys that are coming back at the cornerback position. So, I forgot. That's right. Bobby Washington. That's another kid who is. I think he's got an opportunity. I can't believe I missed him. He's got an opportunity to make some noise at the starting linebacker. I don't necessarily agree with that. Do you agree with that, guys? Anybody can.
No. I think there's potential there, but when you're looking at, who's actually got experience, it's really Kiko and then figure it out. There's a lot of options there that Jazz just went through in detail, but some of our other positions, like we have, look at all the experience we have at running back, for example, of guys that have carried a ton. Like we don't have that at linebacker, so. It's not that it's necessarily. It's not. I would say
it's a weakness per se.
No. It's lacking. Yeah, exactly. It's lacking experience.
A lot of unproven.
It's loaded with talent and lacking experience. So it's kind of in the middle there.
I agree.
And
the quarterback,
and that's actually the more fun positions to watch in spring. See these kids battle it out. See who emerges.
I'm probably going to be looking at that in the corner, the DBs as a whole, because you've got two new safeties as well, whether it's Jaden Harris and Mish Powell, whether it's Savion Riley and Mish Powell, whether it's a combination of maybe it's Isaiah Taylor. Who the hell knows, right? Like there's
Never know.
There's a lot of positions up for grab. I know that Mish Powell comes from a national championship team, and that's great. And he was a starter there. He's a stud. He deserves to get that opportunity to start here, no doubt about it. But I think that Jaden Harris is going to have something to say about that. Savion Riley, Markeith Williams, Ryan Mack, although Ryan Mack might play more corner, I'm assuming, but guys like Isaiah Thomas, Dylan Day, I mean, you've got a lot of Isaiah Taylor. All those guys are going to have something to say about that. I think that Mario brought in the right guys, and you got Coach Guidry coaching these guys, and now you got Chevis Jackson here as well, who's a proven commodity at the cornerback coach position. Has got an opportunity to really focus on those safeties and the rest of the defense. So I like it. So hasn't updated for you. I don't know what that means.
They're arguing over how many people have liked
the show. Gotcha. Yeah, well, hey.
If you all would just click it.
Yeah, all of you click the like button.
Let's
go, man. Let's go. We appreciate everybody watching, by the way. Jay, haven't seen you in a bit. Appreciate you coming back. CCH. I love you, brother. I love you.
We see you on every show.
Yeah, man.
F1 buckets, space Canes on deck, and 6 ring.
Yep. Look, Mesidor. Yeah, that's a good point. FTW. Yeah, the Mesidor played the Zero Tech at West Virginia, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like he sees himself as a 3 tech, but he's got an option. He's versatile. He can do a little bit of everything. So that defensive line is gonna be scary good. I think so, at least. So
yeah, I agree.
That's pretty much your breakdown for.
It was one morning of practice, but we got a lot done.
Day one, and
we've determined we've jumped to conclusions, which I'm sure are all going to be 100% accurate as usual. So
of course, I got a question because I don't know what the hell. Unfortunately I don't subscribe to the Miami Herald, so which is ridiculous. So I don't know what the hell's going on with the spring game now being moved to the school. What the hell's going on with there? Can anybody kind of shine some light to that?
Nobody knows that.
Money.
Yeah,
money. It's got to be money. Everything. The answer is always money.
But
I think I shared with Vish and DJ before what Alex said. Alex Dono kind of felt it was they want to kind of up the ante with the boosters and invite them only.
And it's a shame.
The guys that give 50, 60, 70 grand.
Yeah.
To the program and make them feel special. But to me, you would think that you would want the fan to see the product so they could sell season tickets and we don't have 23,000 in the stands. That would be my only way. And Vish made a point, well, maybe Drive Pink is this, but you got other venues. I mean, I got more seats in my house than the Cobb Field does.
I didn't get that.
Who knows? But it doesn't matter. We don't have to play in Inter Miami. You can play at Traz. You can play at Tropical. There's always these venues. I mean, they even they had the scrimmage that year at Mylander Park. So, I mean, I'm just saying it's sort of like I said to DJ before that look at where the Super Bowls come. I mean, you got San Francisco and Kansas City fans that bust their ass and work 2 jobs just so they can afford season tickets to take their family, and then they get X'd out of the biggest game, of all because of finances, and they want the big corporate people to go see those games. And
I think
the loyalty is just blown out of the window, and it's painful because I know a lot of people would like to see Miami's spring game. They really would. They busted their tails, paid the $75, $100 for the tickets last year to go to the games,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And parking and food, and now they get X'd out because they're trying to be fans. They don't do this at any other place,
right?
Not to mention, you got a very talented quarterback, that a new quarterback in Cam Warner that fans want to see, that I would want to see if I was down there.
They'll be funny. That's funny. They're going to add bleachers everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be a shit show if you ask me, right?
They're not doing
that. And also,
I told you, you're going to get an invited thing.
It's going to be an invite only. They've already said there's going to be a limited number of people allowed to attend. The other thing is,
no bueno.
If they try to get any kind of head count on campus, I mean, if anyone's familiar with campus, there's not exactly room for them.
Right.
Look at the parking. When
That's
they
what I
have
mean.
camp,
Yeah. There's no room when there's like
When-
when there's camps and there's not parking to accommodate any kind of massive
When
fans
they-
on campus.
when they have the 7-on-7s, I have to park, like all the way down the road, way down,
You should
in
have-
somebody's yard.
You should have preferential VIP.
Yeah, you
parking.
should.
I don't have to get in. I don't
All
need
right.
to have anything.
That's a bunch of baloney.
Listen,
all right?
I'll see all the games. I want the fans who pay their damn money to go see this stuff.
I
They
agree.
deserve to do this.
I mean,
And
there's
not
some.
only that,
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Gene.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
not only that, but some people who may not even be able to afford a regular season Miami game or can't get season tickets, this could be their only chance to see the team in general. So it takes away from them too, in that respect as well.
100%. And it's
Yeah.
just,
Point.
I don't want to scream and cry about money,
Yeah.
but at the same time, what is right is right. I mean, the corporate people aren't tailgating with Vish and Jazz,
No.
and having all those people around you. And, like I see those guys, what's his name? There's a crew that goes to all the baseball and basketball games that tailgate out near the Metro Rail.
Oh wow.
I mean, those are fans.
Yeah.
They pay their money to get in. They want to have the experience. I doubt if they're doing this in Mississippi or Alabama or even Gainesville. And that's the thing too. I mean, you're competing against all these programs in Florida.
Yep.
And when people go, oh, hey, guess what? Miami's not having a spring game. Because people, they drive down from Gainesville and Tallahassee and fans like that. I mean,
Yeah,
that
I
makes
think
no
there's
sense.
different yeah, I'll address this in a second, but
Not always.
Wait, hold on. I'll address this in a second in terms of the cost of attendance of a game because it's not just the tickets, but that I think it's a different monetary incentive. The reason that wouldn't happen at Gainesville or Tallahassee is their alums don't live locally, their fans aren't local. They come into town. So by allowing them to attend the spring game, you juice the economy for a day in the off season. And that's for us, once we lose our preferred venues and we can't fill it, then it becomes, well, maybe we can squeeze more out of the top end. I mean, it's the way the whole economy works though, right? As the income inequality continues to spread, more things are targeted as I realize I can sell 5 of these for $5 or make it exclusive by itself to one moron for $100. And you do the second one because you get more money out of it, and that's one person instead of 5 experiencing it. And sometimes these are frankly goods people need to survive, and that's when it becomes a real problem. But I mean that's just the way it is. I mean it's across the board. Actually, Coach L on his ACC conference a couple of weeks ago was talking about how the coaches recommend. So obviously they added 3 teams, which is big of a problem that's for football. 18 basketball teams. How do you schedule that? And the coaches all recommended to the ACC you do 18 conference games because what has happened, if you're not familiar with the way they run computer metrics now in basketball, is the net rating. The way you juice that is to play out of conference games. That's why everyone in the Big 12 has a high net rating. The reason the ACC stats has dropped is because they play so many conference games. And once you start playing conference games, you can't improve your rating. So it's better to actually play less conference games, give you the opportunity to play more out of conference games. You boost everyone's ratings. And they recommend that to the ACC, and ESPN said, no, we want 20 games. Here's your money. And there's 20 games. And that's just the reality of it. It's going to hurt the conference. It's going to hurt the product, but there's more money coming in. And that's the way everything runs. Now, in terms of the cost of going to the game, dude, in addition to paying for the ticket, parking is insanely expensive.
Yep.
Right? If you want to eat anything, you better bring, $100 at least.
Yep.
If you, for a family of 4 to attend a Miami football game,
Unreal.
you're spending hundreds of dollars, even if the ticket is free. So
and it's everywhere. Up here in Boston, you can't even park for less than $100.
And not to mention, look, I don't have a problem with the stadium not being on campus, but you do have to drive out there too. So you're talking about,
the parking sucks. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's driving out there. It's paying an astronomical amount to park, and then any kind of food or concessions you get is a ripoff. So you're never, unless you literally somehow get dropped off for free at the stadium and walk in and just sit there and leave without consuming anything, you're in for probably close to $100. And that's going in free. So I it's not affordable for a lot of people, and for some people it is, right? And that's fine. And again, all of these decisions they make, like a couple of years ago, if you want access to parking, you got to donate money on top of the money you're paying for the ticket just to get on the list to get parking passes. Like, all of that is them figuring out, hey, how hard can we squeeze and extract a little bit more juice out of the orange? And that's all they keep doing, and it's never in the best interest of the fans. And I don't honestly know what went into this decision.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of it had to have been logistics as well. But yeah, I think when they were faced with the dilemma, they said could have played up Tropical Park, Trask Pal. There's other venues. I think they basically said, well, or we could see if we can squeeze out a few more donors here instead, because and I think that's that's the route. And I would not be, again, this is all speculation, so athletic department, don't kill me because I'm speculating. I would not be surprised if at some point over the course of spring we get an email saying, hey, if you want to attend, here's your donation.
Yeah. And that's going to turn a lot of people off, because you're killing the game day experience and the fan experience for like you said, right, for the team, for the guys and the fans that are, they've paid money for season tickets, or they don't have an opportunity to go to any of the games to see something like this.
Yeah, and they keep raising the season ticket prices, and the team is not good.
Yeah, it doesn't match, right? Yeah. Well,
yeah.
How much are season ticket prices? Because I was just thinking, like up here at BC, for example, and BC is not even the hottest ticket in town. It's very, very expensive.
God,
I honestly don't know, because my sister works. I get a bunch of employee discounts on it, so I don't know what the actual rate is.
It's like a couple $100 a person.
Oh, that's for like nosebleeds upper deck though, like, right? I think you start trying to get into like actual seats where you can see.
Yeah. And BC has metal benches as seats, so $100 even at the cheapest section is not exactly a price you want to pay. Like, honestly, if I was sitting for $100 for metal bleachers, I would rather sit at home and watch the game on my TV.
Pim Down, what's up? And the fact that you actually went and checked how much the season tickets were for BC, Jesus Christ, CCH, you kill me.
And that is, I mean, compared to Miami.
Anything compared to Miami is cheap. I paid, I think, a couple $100.
That is also true. I mean, Miami is a little more expensive, but.
Anyways, that's. Oh, by the way, someone mentioned it earlier. I totally whiffed on this, but I missed Chase Smith, linebacker, and Zaquan at safety. I can't believe I didn't even mention Zaquan. So my bad. Thanks for reminding me there. It's a lot of guys to remember. All right, but yeah, I mean, those are guys that I should say right off the bat. Anyways, so.
Yeah, I just checked. Our cheapest season ticket is $300. That's for like upper deck corner.
Is that what's left, or is that?
No. That is. There are plenty of good seats available, man. You've seen our games. It's just it's $300, and that's for upper deck in the corners. And
I paid more than that. I didn't even realize that.
And then they're advertising 3-game packages for $195. So to Kane's Cat's point, BC charging $100 for a season ticket is dropping the bucket compared. You get 3 games at Miami for $200.
Yeah, Desiree. Yeah, well, Section 144 plays.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the other thing. They force donations on you too. It's all of this.
Do they force them?
Yeah, it's part of. You have to donate to buy the ticket.
Huh.
I think it's more of an accounting thing, because you do it at once, and it's probably. You could just add it to the price of the ticket. I'm sure there's some way to account for it. Probably to report,
right? Anyway.
No, it's probably for them to report number of donors is a higher number, so it looks like the.
I agree. They are. Well, that's the price.
Right, which is why the spring game has been right. The spring game, couple it with Canes Fest, is kind of that opportunity for the community to is somewhat priced out of maybe going to certainly the. Certainly, yeah, exactly. That was its.
I don't even want to get into it. I haven't gotten mine yet, and I'm just scared.
Donation to get to parking.
Look, as much as we love F1, that completely screwed up that.
It's not the F1; it's the tennis.
Well, that too.
Because we park on the track. That's not a problem. It's
I know.
The tennis. There's courts everywhere. You can't park on a tennis court.
Yeah.
You can't drive into a thing that doesn't have car access and park on it.
Whatever. I'm not happy about it.
No parking. Everything is expensive. And the product does not meet the price. So again, the reason we brought that up is, look, it is what it is, and a lot of us are paying it, and that's the whatever. I mean, but I think the spring game we thought was kind of off limits, and really something that was directed at the fans. The players love interacting with the fans there too, and we'll see what happens when they hold it on campus. But
is this going to be the model going forward? Say enough, they get enough profit or whatever, they meet whatever goal they have to meet. Is this going to be the model going forward if the money's good enough?
I mean, they can't hold it ever at Hard Rock, right? There's events there all off season, right? There's the tennis court is actively on the center on the stadium. The tennis tournament center court sits on the stadium, and then as Canes Cats, he said they're using the stadium for Copa America games. And then the F1 is in May, so they'll be setting up for that. So we're never going to be able to play a spring game at our actual stadium.
By the way, I got some info here. So it looks like the Mauanoa twins are both going to miss all of spring practice because they're recuperating from injuries. So you won't see Kiko and Francis.
Francis had the shoulder surgery.
He did, right? That's right. And I think Kiko's just recuperating from a knee or ankle or something like that.
But we already know what they could bring to the table.
That's why I'm not concerned. I want to see the other guys, right? And then Adam Lichtenstein also, and that was Susan Miller-Degnan that reported that. And then Adam Lichtenstein, or Lichtenstein, however you want to say it, report also Jalen Rivers said that Cam Ward invited the offensive skill players to his house to watch the Super Bowl last month, and that he's taking the whole entire O-line out to dinner. Yeah. God damn it, that's what a quarterback does. Yep. All right.
That's right. That's what the NIL does.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's
Let me explain something, Caleb.
That's the first thing I thought about. That's going to be an expensive ass dinner. Okay.
Yep.
Listen, Caleb Williams' face. Let me tell you something. The guy, he took his whole freaking team to Hawaii.
Unbelievable, man. That's that Dr. Pepper money, huh?
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper, Nissan,
he got it all.
Wendy's.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
come on.
More power to you, Cam Ward. Whatever, man. Take those big boys out, because now they're gonna protect the hell out of you, anyways, right? Now they're gonna love you even more. Take them to a nice steak dinner or something. Just don't go to Prime 12. Go somewhere else, man. Be a little different, right? Go to like Perry's at Merrick Park. That place is phenomenal. That's why I say it. I love that. It's one of my favorite. But give them something nice, man. Go somewhere different. Don't go to these like stupid like club/restaurants. It's ridiculous. You're not going to eat good there. All right. Go to like the French place. I forgot what it's called. The French steakhouse. You gotta spice it up a little bit.
French place. I forgot what it's called.
I forgot what it's called. The French. What is it? The French steakhouse. Dirty French or whatever it is.
Just in case people think we do show prep.
We definitely don't. This is the part of the show
place,
where
whatever it's called. French place, whatever it's called.
This is the part of the show where
you guys are talking all this. I'm Miami subs and stuff like that. I don't go to those. Hey,
it's Miami Grill now, by the way.
Miami Grill, that's right.
It is. But I'll tell you what, croquetas at Isla Canaria, I bet you those.
Let me tell you something. That's good eating. Whenever I go to Curtis Park, I stop there.
I mean, you saw Blue's face there. Oh man,
dude, I've eaten breakfast there before.
Oh man, how about that new French restaurant, Le McDonald's?
Yeah,
that's a good place too. I like it, pimp. I like it. Oh man, this is fun. All right, so let's end with this. Blue, talk to me a little bit about that Under Armour showcase that you were part of this weekend.
Yeah, well, it was a really good event. I mean, the thing is what Under Armour does now is they invite kids. They invite the kids who they want to showcase, and obviously they do. But the great thing about it this year is you had a lot of South Florida kids, and the receivers were crazy. I know that Cortez Mills from Homestead and Joshua Moore. You had Jake Card, who just transferred to Northwestern. I think those were kids that everybody was looking at. But a guy that I thought stole the show, and it was Floyd Boucard. He's a defensive tackle. He's going to Central now. He's from Mobile Christian. He's one of those big-time kids. He's got 50 offers, but those type of kids coming south will help Miami because, they'll get more exposure. A lot of those kids back in Alabama or Rhode Island, they don't really get a chance to see much of Miami. Another kid that a lot of people, he's gaining momentum is Dwayne Wembley Jr. His dad, football player. He's a basketball kid.
I remember Dwayne Wembley.
Yep, this is his son. He's 6'4",
He was a
6'5", played at Westminster Academy in Fort Lauderdale. So he's really jumped on the radar because the kid's got good size. Nashawn Montgomery, who just transferred from West Palm Beach Cardinal Newman down to Central. He got a lot of looks. He was one of the guys that was invited to the game, to the football game. 26 kid, the kid Calvin Russell from Northwestern, wide receiver, quarterback. Kid dropped about 30 points a game in basketball. I think there's a fresh star on the horizon. I knew about him from Little League, but I've watched him mature, and now he's a 6'1", 210 running back. Derek Cooper. He's only a sophomore. He's a 26 kid.
6'1",
He came out of Chaminade. He was at Cardinal Gibbons. Now he's at Chaminade, and that kid stole the show. Was as good as any receiver. The two brothers at Norland, last year they had the two brothers. Now they got two more, Daryl and Mandrell DeSeer. Both of them are lanky, defensive end type kids. A kid that I had on our show this evening, Caleb Harris, in an area starved for offensive linemen. Caleb jumped on the board with USF early, but believe me, I think if somebody else shakes the tree a little bit, a Wesley Bissant clone probably covers a whole lot better from the same high school, Ezekiel Marcelin.
Oh, yes.
Love that kid. Not afraid to drop back into pass coverage. He'll knock your head off. A little short, 6'1", 190, but you know what? The kid could play. I mean, and it's he's a big time kid. Miami commitment from 2026. Got a chance to watch Jordan Campbell.
Oh yeah,
he's at Carroll City. I like him. Long rangey kid, has an opportunity to be really special. I think Miami's got to put pressure on Ben Hanks Jr.
I was about to mention Ben Hanks. Yeah,
good cover kid. Justice Fitzpatrick, who's only a sophomore. That's Minka Fitzpatrick's brother. He's at St. Thomas. Kid had a pick in his freshman year in the state title game. So I think there's a kid you want to kind of keep an eye on for next year. I think a guy that Miami's now got to fight for a little bit because he's gotten bigger. He's rangier. He was with Michigan for so long. Chris Ewald Jr. I know that he's looking at all these other schools, but Miami's got to stick their nose in it. Another kid that really impressed was Jonathan Carter from Flanagan. Kid's a safety, big body, a lot like Zaquan Patterson. He'll knock you out. And Bryce Fitzgerald from Columbus, who I think is really one of the best athletes. Big-time basketball kid. Didn't
they just win a state title in basketball again?
They're going. I think they play next week.
Yeah.
This week.
They got the Boozer brothers over there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I think, their last year. I think they're going to go to Windermere or whatever they have there.
Oh, really?
But I'll tell you, a lot of people haven't looked at him, but now they're starting to. His sophomore quarterback, Dia Bell. It's Raja Bell's
kid.
His son. And, if I know he's got everything, BYU, Utah, Florida, everybody's looking at him. He's growing into the position. Kid's a great athlete. His granddad worked at University of Miami for 40 years. So they have a lot of ties. His dad used to hang out at Miami, back in the day for shooting baskets when he went to Killian. And another guy that is interesting that was there, and he came back last year. Miami Central had three quarterbacks. And
Beckham Kritza. Beckham Kritza.
He came back. He's a Penn State commit, which I don't know. We'll see. But he's tall and thin. I think he was there yesterday. He looked real good. He's got a really good arm. I'll tell you a guy that Miami, I think Miami offered him, but I'll tell you the kid, I think, as far as defensive lineman, I think he's as good as anybody in South Florida. That's Randy Adarica from Miami Central. He gained 30 pounds. He's up to 265, 270. Listen, when he played again with Blunt last year, go back and look at the film and watch how many plays that he made. I think he's a major prospect. Another guy that Miami's starting to look at is Wilnerson Telemark from Monsignor Pace. He's 6'6", great edge rusher, very long. I like him a lot.
More relation to Vaughn?
No.
Those were the days. Vaughn Telemark.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. He's a local kid. They had a lot of talent out there. We saw a future, perhaps Miami Hurricane, Zach Katz, who's now at Chaminade. I know his dad's a big fan. I believe they may even work down there. I saw Adai's son, Adjaman Adai, who's still here playing running back, looked pretty good. There wasn't, other than maybe somebody like Derek Cooper, and then they had the kid from Naples who's shorter. I know he ran for a lot last year. The receiving core was stupid. I mentioned those guys already, but you also had Kyle Washington, who I think is going to sneak into somewhere like Syracuse and be a big time kid. A lot of talent. Like I said, Chris Ewald and Tay Harris, who came from Georgia, a really good looking defensive back. He was there. Kirby Vital, who left Chaminade because they wouldn't let him play defensive line, but yet he won the MVP at offensive line. So go figure. So there was a lot of talented kid. Javon Boggs, who's committed to Ohio State as a wide receiver, and Winston Watkins out of Naples, another receiver, looked pretty good. So, I watched as much as I could. I drove from 4:30 in the morning from Orlando after being there for the state wrestling tournament, and got a chance to watch as much as I could. And there was a lot of kids there. And so it was well run as always. They stagger the kids, so not everybody's there at once. The linemen come first, and the first group of quarterbacks, and then the linebackers. And you get a chance to really watch them.
That's good.
And they give you a sheet with all the kids' numbers on it, so that's always helpful. So had a good time and a lot of talent.
Who won states in wrestling? South Dade?
Oh, they won that in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, right.
They set a record. They had 10 in the finals.
Wow.
They won 6 titles. They won by 190 points. And the great part of it was they have a 215-pound kid is going to Iowa State, Sawyer Bartell. Never lost a match in high school. He's 142-0. Never gave up a takedown in high school. And the kid from Dr. Crop in the finals bull rushed him and took him down.
Wow.
And
did he still win? I'm assuming he still won.
He stuck him in like a minute and 20. But I'm just saying. But the thing that I'm saying is, he's comparable to a kid that went to your school, and Javier Estepañan.
Yes.
Now, who was a great football player and a good wrestler.
Yeah.
And if you
state champ and a state heavyweight champ as well.
Oh, he's a freak.
Yeah.
And Sawyer,
he's a 5-star linebacker too.
Yeah, he was a beast.
Yeah.
Javier was a great family, great kid. And
I'm good friends with his brother Gabe, who was also a state champion in wrestling. Gabe Estopignan.
Yeah. Well, they said it's somebody asked me who I would compare Bane to. Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know about this more athletic. I'm assuming Warren Sapp. Let's calm down here a little bit if that's who we're talking about.
He's like a more athletic.
Well, yeah, Warren was pretty damn. They had to keep Warren out of freaking practices because he was disrupting. That's how good he was.
Yeah, let's not. He
can't compare him to Sapp just yet.
No, but I'll tell you what, he's and the guy's got a great. Oh, somebody asked me about Stephen Moore. Let me tell you something. Miami better offer him. He's a 2028 kid, and I would offer him today. I mean, he's going to Miami Central, to play football. He'll start as a freshman. He's destined if he stays. Yeah, Kane's cat seat 305 asked that question. Yeah, keep your eye on Steve. Steve's a beast, and he's a great kid. And he's got a 3.6 GPA, and he's a great wrestler and great family. So that's important.
And
that's it. I got to go running to do this baseball thing.
Well, apparently they offered him. So.
Yeah, they offered him as an eighth grader, which is pretty decent.
Wow.
But kid's a man child. He really is, and like I said, he's a good kid. He's a really good young man, and yeah, there's a lot of young kids that Miami's going to be on, and like all they have to do is win.
That's it.
They win, and they'll have as good a recruiting classes as everybody, and they deserve it. So we'll see what they do with these dudes.
Follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Make sure you subscribe to the 5 Reasons Canes Network on YouTube and also on wherever it is you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it. We are on podcast form as well. We're on every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Check us out again. Subscribe, hit the like button on YouTube. It's a 5 Reasons Canes Network on YouTube and also at 6 Rings Canes on Twitter. You can check us out on Instagram as well at 6 Rings Canes. We got a little Instagram there, trying to grow that a little bit, but make sure you check us out. Follow us every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. We've got a lot of shows this week. We've got Formula One. We've got Buckets. We've got baseball. Canes on Deck will be on later this week as well. So we got a lot of stuff to cover. And, of course, as always, thank you guys for joining us on the show. If you have any questions or anything, go ahead and reach us out on all our social media platforms. And we'll see you guys next Monday. Adios.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.